your woman is a representation of you.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So at the end of the day, if you got somebody who's, strong and always ready to get somebody told, that is a bad look. Not saying there's no white women or any other race that does that, but predominantly.
But see, it's embarrassing on both sides, because you don't have to put me down to date a white woman and for you to say, I ain't got to worry about Becky talking back. So you saying Becky a run over?
What's up, everybody? My name is Mel, and welcome to Life Coaching by Mel. Here at Life Coaching by Mel, we speak truth, and it's not according to my truth. Your truth is based on the Word of God, will of God, and the ways of God. We're talking about His truth. So there's going to be some topics that very well may, rub you the wrong way at times or may get you uncomfortable. But at the end of the day, it's not about me or you. It's all about the Word of God. And today it's no different. I have the amazing Pastor Z from ZMR Ministries.
What up?
And she's actually my family. We're cousins, and it's amazing to have you. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's my honor and pleasure. It's about to be an amazing topic because your content is buzzing. Before we get into any of the things we're going to discuss tonight, tell people how they can find you.
You can find me on all social media. My personal social media pages is Zanya Marette Robinson, at Zanya Marette on Instagram, at Zanya Marette on TikTok, Zanya Marette Robinson on Facebook. And then my ministry is at ZMR Ministries across the board. So that's it.
That's so awesome. So awesome.
I implore and I encourage women that are listening, it's okay to be strong and it's okay to be vulnerable. Like I desire that softer side of me. Mm-hmm. I really do. That softer side of me makes me feel at peace. There's a calm, there's a security, there's a confidence that comes with it. You're less stressed. It's less straining. It takes so much more work to be on top all the time. Just no, I don't want that. I don't want that. I love being independent. I love doing my own thing and all of that. But I want to meet somebody where I ain't got to be all that all the time. I don't want to be Superwoman. Whereas I think that's the mentality that a lot of women have taken these days to feel relevant, to try to show that I can stand with you. I want to stand beside you. I don't want to go toe to toe with men. That's not my job. That's not what God put me down here for. We all have our role. I want to play my role, baby. Yeah. But it took years. I'm 41 now. That took years. It took stripping. It took development. It took breaking. It took being humble. It has taken all of this time. And even, with this most recent thing that I just, shared with you guys, even then it was like God showing me, okay, there's still some residue. At the end of the day, you can try to blame him and be like, I know you heard what they said, though. You over here checking me, Holy Ghost. I don't have no attitude. Let me take the Holy Spirit. I feel like you're checking me and you're not saying it. We don't know how God dealing with them. And just because they don't tell you does not mean that God didn't deal with them.
All right.
And so, you can't sulk in guilt. You got to brush yourself off, say, hey, I messed up. Next time I get it better. I'll do better. If I have another opportunity, whether it's with them, whether, it's somebody else, the next time I won't fail that test. Next time I get it a little better, And so I just encourage the strong women out there, it's nothing wrong with being strong. All of that is beautiful. You were made that way. But also know how to be tender. Like, ain't no man trying to walk around with Hercules.
Whew, that's a word for everybody.
That's just 100. No man wants that. That's exhausting. It's draining. Like, we see it all the time, but it's just like, keep it real. Be his peace.
Yeah.
Be his safe space where he can be vulnerable. Where he don't have to be He-Man all the time. Yeah. And so, with the subject of relationships and love, one thing my mom told me, I remember I was really wrestling with some things with this relationship, and I didn't want to say how I really felt because I was like, what if they don't receive it? What if they try to come at me? Now I look like the no one, and I'm gonna have to let you know. And she said, Zanya, love is vulnerable. Love is risky. Yes, she was like, so you don't express your love and how you feel based on how they respond. She was like, give yourself the liberation and the freedom. Free yourself to love freely, whether they receive it or not. And so you have to, a lot of it I've just learned is it's defense mechanisms.
Yeah.
This whole pumped up attitude, I'm an independent woman and this, that, and all, and nothing's wrong with it. Get your bag, sis, get your money up, get all that up, do your thing, boo. But behind all that, I'm like, for you to say, oh, I don't need no man, something's wrong with you.
Yeah.
Because we were not made to be alone. And so this is not going against anybody. Don't attack me. This is not going against anybody who feels like, I don't want to be married. I don't need a relationship. If that's your journey, then God bless you, Paula. you take on that mantle. That mantle is not for me.
All right.
So it's like, learn your tender side. I'm ready to be soft. I'm ready for my soft era. I'm ready. Like 100% wholeheartedly. And it's taken me so much time to really get it. And even now, I feel like I still don't have it. And I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
Okay. Now, first of all, I want to say I thank you. Really appreciate your vulnerability there. And
I know. Ooh, I feel naked.
I don't take it for granted. And I believe that truly helps somebody because there's so many people that's watching this has that same story. It's not an exclusive conversation to Black people, but majority of my audience is Black. And I want to just go there for a second. When it comes to your parents and even the guy you were talking to, his parents, this dynamic of raising strong, independent women, and in essence, weak, dependent men.
Yeah.
That's the dynamic we have. We can go through history, through the 60s, through the Jim Crow era, all the things that happened to our community that's made this come to fruition. But I appreciate your parents for, admitting and saying, we messed you up. We messed up.
Ruined y'all. Yeah.
We ruined y'all. And so I want to ask, just as we wrap up here, you said a declaration earlier, to women that are strong and what you believe it's time to let go of. But what do you say specifically to our demographic, to Black women, that we're going to excite anybody who don't want to be married? You go over there. We talking strictly to those who desire to be married. What do you say that said, man, I've tried this for so long, but honestly, I'd rather be strong. I'd rather be what I have than to put down any of that sense of strength to get someone that may disappoint me in the end. What would you say to them?
Heal. Let me tell you something. Black women are just strong naturally. We are resilient. We have tenacity. We have stickability. We have do it all because that's what we have the be it all because that's what we've had to be. And it stems all the way back years ago, when the men were taken out of the home, whether it's drug activity, whether it's other illegal activity, whether it's been in prison, whether it's been shot, whether it's been abused. We've seen the degradation of our own men in our own eyes. And then when it seemed like, we had the ability to be a family, obviously things were not created equal. So they had to find other ways to make it. And so I think it was Farrakhan that said, Black women are the most disrespected people on the planet. I believe it was Farrakhan that said that. I totally agree. And it's like we are expected to be everything with no grace. And I feel like the Black men don't want to take responsibility for the stigma of the independent woman right now.
Well, okay. And this is my area as well, so we can go there. What part does the man play in that?
Well, when you don't stand up to your responsibilities, and we have single moms, or we see the generational curse of daddy's been Rolling Stones. They're not in a home, but they just provide. But then y'all get mad and say, "Oh, she a gold digger." Well, that's all you exemplify. oh, I can't give her money. Now all of a sudden she's saying I don't love her, but that's what you showed me.
Can I just say this, Zonia? I agree with you. First of all, I always hold men more accountable than I hold any woman, specifically in the Black community. I definitely do. But haven't we spent enough time, telling men their responsibility in the Black community? I mean, Oprah in the 80s, spent all her TV time almost talking about Black men being gay and in prison. We have The Color Purple. What's love have to do with it? We have so many, for decades, so many things dedicated to Black men. I'm curious, are we able to be critical and hold Black women accountable for their own actions?
All the time.
Okay, I have a hard time finding people being able to hold Black women accountable, like Black women holding other Black women accountable. Other people talk about it, don't get me wrong, and they get flack like me. I get called all kind of names, but I have a hard time finding Black women holding each other accountable.
So what would you say that we need to be, and this is not me disagreeing with you, what would you say that we need to be held accountable on?
Well, you mentioned the things that, has happened. You said drugs and being killed and things like that, but we didn't mention, no fault of yours, the welfare system and Section 8 housing.
Right, right. Where men could not be in a home if they wanted those benefits. No.
Right, and women chose to,
Absolutely. Okay. Absolutely. You asked me a question and I said it goes all the way back to those times. And obviously that's not everybody's story. Everybody there are some beautiful Black families, and I think we don't give those enough spotlight. And there are people who have stayed married, but also they have a story. Because a lot of people that we like to praise and be like, oh, they stayed married. And I'm like, he had 17 kids on the side. He lived a double life. He was abusive. You didn't see a healthy, dynamic in the home when he was there. But what I was trying to say, and this is not to negate or not hold Black women responsible. Because at the end of the day, like I said, going the whole I'm independent route is not the way either. I don't need no man for nothing route is not the way either. Like, I think that's a trick of the enemy, because his job is to steal, kill, and destroy. Yeah. So how do you take over any world, any system? You destroy the dynamic of the family first. Yes. And he has done a very good job at doing it. And so now it has created this whole feminism movement. And don't get me wrong, my degree's in sociology. And I love feminism. Don't get me wrong. I'm all for the movement, but I'm not all for the movement discounting men.
Love it.
Because I believe we need each other.
Yeah.
If we didn't, there would be no need for God to create Eve. But he looked at Adam and said, it's not good for man to be alone.
Yeah. So
let me give him a helpmate. This is where we mess up. We don't believe we need each other anymore. The woman believes, what do I need a man for? I make more money than you. I can take care of my own self. You left me and I went and got degreed. And so now I'm a great single mother. I make it happen for my kids. I'm doing it without you. I'm going to show your daddy when he left, we didn't need him. That's not it, sis. It may not be him, but you need somebody. And then these men feel like, I don't need a woman, especially when it comes to Black women. Especially men who date outside your race. Date what you like. I ain't, baby, I done dipped in the waters of Snowville, amen.
That cooling water.
Listen, I stuck my toes with snow. I do not discriminate. I'm all for it. I love my Black men. Don't come for me, Black men.
Hold on, sis. You were just about to say something about Black men who date outside. And then
the people who date outside their race, I'm like, you don't have to put us down to justify what you like.
I don't see no Black man doing that. I'm just gonna be real. When LeBron James' son took his
you don't see these famous Black men putting down Black women.
If they ask the question, yes, they don't put
Black
it down.
Women got attitude problems. Black women got this. That's why I don't date Black women. That's why I don't date white women. And you don't never hear that.
You spent 45 minutes of today talking about how strong, independent.
That's beautiful. That don't excuse the men who don't put us down either.
But that yields a certain result. That's what I'm saying.
It does. It does. So, I'm in agreement. I'm just saying, we're not gonna act oblivious either.
And I'm not. And we're gonna keep it fun. Gonna call it like it is. You can have that presence about you. You can have the alphaness. You can have the strongness. But like we said, it takes a certain man to put up with that. Once a man get of a certain ilk, and the guys we talking about that talk bad about black women, we probably talking about celebrities.
Mm-hmm. No, I know some regulars.
Okay, some regulars.
Like Cardi B, some regular schmegler.
But once a guy get of a certain status, whether that be financially, popularity, whatever, your woman is a representation of you.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So at the end of the day, if you got somebody who's strong and always ready to get somebody told, that is a bad look. So it's not saying there's no white women or any other race that does that, but predominantly.
But see, it's embarrassing on both sides, because you don't have to put me down to date a white woman, and for you to say, I ain't got to worry about Becky talking back. So you saying Becky a run over? You can just run over Becky? So they'll tell you off, but they tell you off in the house. That's just the difference. Like I'm just gonna be blunt. I married an African woman, Nigerian. One of the flyest. I love my wife, and anybody know her knows she got a fly mouth. Mm-hmm. But she'll never do it in public. And you shouldn't. But you ain't got to be African to do that.
No, I'm just saying that's just part of the culture. I'm not blaming black women personally. I'm saying that's part of the culture.
I don't know. I feel offended. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm with it. I'm saying this is out of love, being honest, more than anything, because like I said, I grew up in a household. If you know my dad's story, y'all, a household where, the strong woman that got my dad told. I seen it, first, through and through. So I knew this was dynamic. I did not want to go in. At the end of the day, that's what guys, black men are saying. They always, as soon as the black man date outside his race, how you gonna date someone outside your race? Your mama black. Well, that's why. Because what he experienced at home, he don't want to go through the same thing.
But I agree. I don't believe in publicly humiliating your man. I think that's tacky. Yeah. There's a time and place for everything. There's a time and place for everything, and so I'm in total agreement with you. But I will say, in a lot of cases, this is not in your case. In a lot of cases, when you say, "Oh, well, I dated outside my race because I saw how my mama talked to my daddy," did you ever ask why? My mama was so angry. Why? Why was she angry?
I don't know if that matters. I don't think that matters to kids. But not to the kid.
No, but listen, when you become an adult, those kids get grown one day.
Right.
And when you go ask your mama, why was you so angry all the time when daddy came over? It seemed like you never had anything good to say. Then they start learning. Mama had to do this by herself. Mama had to work 17 million jobs. Daddy would come home with no money. He over here drinking and he going out with his boys and he doing this. You can't help me around the house.
They get back to what I was saying, though.
All the burden is on me. You will be angry too.
They get back to what I was saying earlier. When can something ever just be that woman's fault? Why
no, I'm not saying it can't be no. I'm not saying, but I'm saying majority of the time when you really break down and ask mama why were you so angry? And they tell you why, then you become more understanding. Like, okay, I see why she was cussing him out every time he came around. You want to come and see. I have friends who are single moms, right? Mm-hmm. And they're not like, the typical mothers that we're talking about where they embarrass the dad in front of the child. They're not like that at all.
Right.
But now that their children are older, they can understand the frustration because they don't see the tears. They don't see the sacrifice. They don't see how they have to be, they out there living their life and then pop up, on a special occasion, like they daddy of the year. And it's like, you leaving me out here to do all the hard work. You will be angry too. You will be bitter too. And that has been inundated in so many of our Black women. And it has made us angry. It has made us bitter. It has made us disrespectful.
I agree.
And it goes back to what I was saying. A man wants to be respected, A woman wants to feel secure. So when she doesn't feel secure, you don't get nice little vulnerable black woman. You get that beast that now we both got on boxers. I'm just keeping it real. And I'm not saying it makes it right, because at some point you as a woman have to say, I don't have to tolerate this, and I'm not going to allow you to make me become something that I despise. So if that's who you want to be, you go be you. But it's like, don't make their feelings null and void, because it matters and it plays a huge part. Now, are there certain women? Do I know certain women that I'm just like, baby, I wouldn't dare. I was talking about somebody the other day. This is the God's untrue. We was talking about this. Lord Jesus. We was talking about this last night and earlier today about with my best friend about somebody that we personally know. And I was just like, ain't no way in hell I would ever. But she's like that because her mama was like that and her grandmama was like that, and this is just how they are. See? And she, whenever you try to tell her about themselves, they just like, this is just me.
Thank you.
And I'm like, now, at what point? That's what I said earlier. At what point do you say, I'm gonna mature past that and say, I'm not just gonna say, even me personally, when I was saying in my 20s, I didn't have a filter. And I was just saying, that's just who I am. But when I began to mature and I began to heal myself and I began to do the work and I went back and I started apologizing to people, I was getting people that were saying, I accept your apology. I don't want to deal with you. Yeah. I started to realize the damage that I did with my mouth, with how I handled people, causing them great embarrassment, causing them great shame, humiliating them, because that's just how I was. But then when I did the work and I started recognizing, you know what, that's a defense mechanism. And it stems from when I was hurt, when I was humiliated, when I was embarrassed, and a switch went off and said, I will never let nobody else do me like that again. Now I'm going to come for you. Whereas now that I'm much older, and I did a interview in Bold Journey magazine, and they were asking me about empathy. Oh. And I told them, I said, listen, life will teach you. Life will humble you. Life will ground you. You would get to the point of empathy when you've gone through so much stuff that you said you would never do, when you find yourself doing stuff that you said you would never do and never say, and all of that stuff, that will humble you. Because now, instead of you judging someone, you be like, honey, I don't know what they're going through. I'm going to pray for them. I just pray I'm never dealt that deck of cards where I have to make that decision. And it really gets you to a point where you get to the root of the why. You look past what they're doing. You look past their attitude. You look past what they're saying, and you get to the why are they behaving this way? Help me understand. Before I just go out for you, or before I label you, or before I attach a stigma to you or to a group of people and say they just angry, let's get to the why. And then sometimes you get to the why and you just like, oh no, you just, I can't. That's all you. They ain't nothing. I get Nathan to her. They just them. But it just you get past yourself. And even the ones that you look at and say, that's just who they are, you still pray for them because you just like, man, that's got to be a lonely life. Eventually, you become a repellent, and nobody wants to be around you, and that gets lonely. Yeah. And then you'll find yourself in your 70s, 80s, 90s, or even before then, you'll look around and be like, I'm never invited. No one ever wants to have fellowship with me. When they call, they look at their phone. I don't feel like that. I'm telling you, I do some people like that. My phone lives on Do Not Disturb anyway. But I'm telling you, certain people, certain ones hit me up, and I'm just like, I'll be vexed just seeing their name on my phone. I'll be like, oh, no. Nope. And then I'll get a call from a mutual friend or a family member or whoever it is. Never like this. So and so tried. Girl, they tried. I didn't. Don't even want to know. I want to be able to honestly say, "Oh, I didn't know." Don't even tell me. Don't tell me what's going on. No, I'm telling you, that's me guarding my spirit. But
Absolutely.
you know, at the end of the day, I hate that this conversation, you know, pinning men against women, especially black men against black women. You know, it's just an ongoing dialogue that is just like, are we done yet?
Well, I think, and I'm not trying to do that, but I think
No. I'm not saying you are. I'm just saying.
Right. I agree with you. I think that's the constant conversation. But when you have someone, I'm not sure if you're familiar with her, but Shahrazad Ali, she's a commentator from the 80s. She's been the same shows that was talking noise about black men. She would go on there and talk about black women, just holding black women accountable. She's been doing this since the 80s, and they shunned her, and you know, black women almost lynched her. You know, that's hyperbolic, but
no, I get it.
My point is, she's still around today, still saying some of the same things. Anyone and her question was, who else will we hold accountable? We held white men accountable for the destruction of the black community. White women, black men, black women, the only ones who haven't taken that ownership, and that's the only thing I was bringing it up for, because at some point we can't just point the finger. You know, we have to look in the mirror.
I totally agree, and I think you asked me. You said, you know, what would you say to the women like that? And I said, heal. And you know, and that's why I was going back down history. Because a lot of that anger is just inherited.
Yeah, agreed.
You know, when you talk to them, you like, ain't nobody ever did you like that though. And you know, that's where the accountability come in, where you're just like, sis, that's like when I was talking to the independent women. You don't have to be nasty to be independent. You don't have to emasculate and degrade men to be independent. You don't have to flex your muscles to show I'm independent. Because now that objectivity has become your identity. And that's not what you want.
Right.
That's not who you are. You may have a degree, you may have money, you may be successful, but that's not who you are. Who you are is at your core.
Yeah.
And so whether, you know, you pick somebody who's on your level, whether you get with somebody who's on a level above you, or whether you get with somebody who you feel like is not on my level, but they may be on your level here.
Yeah.
They may be the very ones that say, hey, let me help you. Let's tame that. Let's help you control that. Let's get to the root of this right here, because that's not who you are. And it takes someone that's patient. It takes someone that's secure in who they are. So when you start popping out like, I had this before you showed up, okay, and you still with me. So you can say you don't need me, but obviously you do.
Yeah.
And that's what I fear for so many women. Like it's especially Black women, because we're just in that phase of, you know, get the bag, do you, sis? And that's beautiful. But I'm just like, y'all are looking up to people, like people always say, you know, Beyonce, oh, I'm a single lady. And I'm like, Beyonce married and everything. Y'all sit over here. I'm like, baby.
Yeah, I just seen that go back viral. I was like, do y'all not see the hypocrisy?
I want it. They will sing all these songs to the left, everything on, and you'll be telling my baby to the left, you can go, and then you're home mad because somebody took you to cheesecake, baby. Girl, I'm tired. My spirit is calm. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. And I'm just like, I don't desire that for myself.
No.
I really don't. I don't desire, you know, to become Uber. Actually, that's been one of my greatest fears since I was young. When I knew I was entering into the realm of entertainment as a filmmaker, let me be very not, you know, I write scripts and stuff, y'all. I'm an actor.
Awesome.
And I mean, when you say entertainer, you got to make it clear. You know?
Got that OF?
Right. No, not that kind of entertainment. The man, baby, said you could kill me. But I I do film, and so I do producing, directing, I write, I act, and things like that. So when I knew that was my desire, I looked at so many Hollywood women, especially Black women, who are super successful. They got the bag, they A-list stars, and they single, never been married, no children, and I'm like, you got all of that. And they are admonished in all of those things. And I'm like, but when you leave, who do you give it to? You have it all, but you're not spending your life with anybody. And that was that was always one of my greatest fears. I didn't want to be that uber successful, Black woman in the industry, and I'm by myself.
Yeah.
And then they all have the same thing. I have learned to be content with me. I'm good. If it comes, I'm not looking for that. And I'm like, well, you're 50 now.
Wow.
You was on Ebony, you was on the cover of Jet, and you was on the cover of this, and you was on, all of these things, and you're doing great. And this is not me knocking my Black sisters, because like I said, I'm 41. I'm getting to that point, but I'm like, baby, my eggs still work, and they can be Amen. Amen. My eggs are very well intact, men of God. Praise the Lord.
Yeah.
Amen. I know y'all heard me say that. Don't play with it. Don't play with it. She's cute. She got personality. She loves Jesus. She got it going on. She ain't out here tooting and booting. Okay.
Right.
But no, it's like that's something I still desire. And I know a lot of women who are, of a particular age that do have it going on, and they're by themselves. And it's just like, I have seen so many women who have dropped their standard because they're like, maybe it's just too high.
Wow. And
they have dated down, thinking maybe this will work. And you just like, that ain't work now. Now I got to heal again, because I'm like, now, Lord, I dropped my standards to try to get somebody, and that ain't work either.
See.
And it's rough out here. It's rough out here. And so, we have to be careful when we look at someone and you just like, you got it made, why are you by yourself? The options are slim picking. I'm telling you. And this is not to say that there are no good men out there, because they are. There are some amazing men out there. But a lot of it comes down to you're not compatible. You don't have the same goals. You don't have the same drive. You're not on the same gauge. You ask somebody, where do you see yourself 10 years from now? Oh, shoot, I'm just trying to, and you like, that ain't what the Lord showed me. So, to my sisters, I would just say, heal, man. Make sure you are healed. Make sure you are whole. Don't look at your accomplishments. Don't look at your bag, your money, your degrees, your businesses, or, being able to stand on your own 2 feet as a way of saying I made it. Because you're right. You single by yourself made it, and you made it to where? You made it to where?
That's so powerful. And
so, I never want to be that. And y'all stop making these women feel bad for wanting and desiring to have a husband and to be married and to have a covenant and to settle down. That don't mean we thirsty. Y'all always praying for a husband, nigga. I mean, what you want us to pray for, sis? I mean, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What you want us to pray for? A girlfriend? A boyfriend? A side little boo? My little dunk on the side? No. We want husbands.
Yes.
We want husbands. So quit making women, especially in their 30s and 40s, feel bad for desiring something that you have, that you settled on anyway. Let's get that. That means whatever.
That's so real.
Let me stop, because I feel like somebody.
Man, we got to do this again, because this. First of all, you're incredible. You're saying so many amazing things, but you also pushing a lot of my buttons and a lot of my triggers that I talk about all the time, but we'll be here all night if I talk about each thing. So we gotta do this again at some time, because
for sure,
you're amazing. But
for sure,
I want to allow you just give you the last word. Any last thing you want to talk about regarding either the topic or the thing we ventured. I'm gonna split this up in two. We're gonna talk about Jill Scott first, and I'm gonna split it up to this last part of this conversation because it's been great. I know a lot of people can benefit from it. But any last words you may have?
You know, let's just be compassionate to one another. And like I said, seek to understand the why. You know, pray and understand the why before you judge. And when we're mindful of one another and we're compassionate towards one another, then your extension of grace and mercy and understanding and love goes to a deeper level. And you know, it goes back to the golden rule. Treat others how you want them to treat you.
Yeah.
It's so simple, and we've learned it. We've heard it all of our lives. But the truth of the matter is, when you consider people like you want to be considered, when you love people how you want to be loved, when you show grace and forgiveness and understanding and compassion and long suffering and patience, you know, how you want to receive it, man, then that's reciprocal.
Yes.
So if you sow that, whatsoever a man sows, that shall he also reap. Mm-hmm. So if you sow that you're going to get. And so to all my people out there, especially my sisters that are single, man, y'all hold on, you know, and be okay with being soft. It's soft girl arrow time, because, you know, I'm soft. I can be real soft, or I can be a beast. Oh, just kidding. No, I'm not kidding. She tame.
Yeah.
She real tame.
We'll end it there, because I think that's a great ender. It's been great having you on. It's been amazing. I'm gonna put all your information in the description. Guys, go follow her, go support her. Hope you have a wonderful night. We'll talk to you a little later.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Right.
Let's go.